I like to exhaust all curiosities in my life before making like a choice as huge as like love. You know, you have to exhaust those curiosities. And then you'll find someone that keeps you curious. So.
Well, I mean, first of all, does Ari season feel like a million years ago?
Oh, it's forever ago. Yeah. It's so weird to look back at that and to think like how different I was. I don't know. There was almost like an element of being afraid to be vulnerable and afraid to express what I wanted. And I've gotten so much more comfortable in my own skin since then.
Oh, are you still into taxidermy?
Oh yeah. I mean, so this guy right here.
Oh yeah, I see it. Perfect. Love it.
I collect taxidermy, but now I'm more so in like the teaching world of science and zoology, which has been so great.
Yes, I do have some. I definitely wanted to bring up your Instagram and your fun facts at the end. So don't worry, we'll circle back to the animals because I do find it fascinating following you on Instagram. I learned things that I didn't even think to ask. But obviously from Ari's season, you went on Paradise the first time. You met Joe. You guys dated for like 2-ish years after the show. And then I remember you gave an interview, I think on Almost Famous, and then maybe even also told Us Weekly or me that you had no interest in necessarily potentially going back, and especially if Joe was going to be there, because that would be so hard and it was still kind of raw. But then we end up on the beach. So what happened, Kendall?
It's funny how things change, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess going back to the beach, I have like a romanticism towards Paradise because it was such a romantic experience the first time I went. And then the second time I went, I really had hope for it to be that. Not in terms of rekindling anything with my ex, just because why would I do that publicly when we had like a 2-year relationship and there's so much stuff we can't talk about on TV?
Yeah.
So that would have taken more than a couple weeks in Mexico to fix. But I really had hopes of being able to find someone and to connect with someone. And I did. I went on, I had like a little romantic thing with Ivan, and that was great. But ultimately, seeing your ex in the place where you fell in love initially, it was very difficult for me. And I didn't anticipate that at all. I didn't think I would be as emotional. Just from my perspective, I felt like I wasn't ready to do that in such a public way.
Yeah. So. Did you know he was going to be there?
Yeah, I had a feeling he was going to be there. I mean, people always hint, there's always rumors. So I knew there was potential he was going to be there. And so I wanted to make sure to like talk with him and to say like, hey, this is weird. We've been here before, but I want you to be happy and I want to move forward and still be friends. And I think for the most part, we were really cordial and positive with each other and gave each other space to do whatever we wanted on the beach. And, it worked out for him, and he happened to find someone he really connected with, which is beautiful. And I don't think I had that same connection the second time. And it's weird because you feel like, oh, it's so easy to have a connection on the beach because it happened the first time and I didn't expect it. I was almost like not against finding someone, but I thought I was going to be leaving the beach single the first time. And then the second time, I just didn't find a connection with somebody. A lot of great people on there.
Yeah, and what I do remember of watching it, I know you said you didn't watch it, is you guys did all look like really mature. It was a lot of drama was going down on that beach, but obviously they put a lot of focus on the fact that you and Joe were there, and it was a lot of screen time. But whether it was you or Serena or Joe, everyone spoke about each other with kindness and in a way where it was like, oh, this is kind of interesting to see this mature way of you guys were sitting at the breakfast table or whatever. Like no one was really saying anything about each other in their confessionals. And it felt like a mature way to go around an awkward situation. So it did come off that way to the audience, in my opinion.
That's good. I mean, of course I get like a bunch of feedback and people's opinions, which I found a little bit confusing, but ultimately in the end, like when we were there, we just wished happiness for each other, and that's all we ever wanted. And I got along with them, and I don't know, I was only there for 4 days. I think everyone makes it seem like I was there for like a really long time.
You were only there for 4 days.
I didn't last long. I was very much like, okay, came here, it's a lot harder than I thought. I'll try it out for a couple days, not for me. And so, and then I stayed for the end because, I'm not sure how much I can say.
Yeah, but, what can you say about that at the end?
So I I was under the impression that Joe was going through a lot of mental difficulty with our relationship and me being there. And so for me, coming back to talk to him, it would be a way to be like, hey, this chapter's closed. It was kind of weird the way we ended it, but let's make it not weird and let's move on.
Right.
No idea there would ever be any sort of proposal at all. Like, not in my mind. I even said, like, if there's going to be a proposal, I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to go to the beach because that's not my day. That's their day. And so finding out later that there was a proposal actually made me really upset and a bit angry. But that's just what it ended up being. And hopefully the situation that took place seems to not affect their relationship anyway, or their proposal in any way. It still felt, hopefully it felt just as special, but I would have preferred not to be there that day.
That is very fair of you to, have not wanted to be there for that. And I know that it's not always what it seems. And your friend Jacqueline, you mentioned she's getting married. She told me, I remember when that was airing, she was like, Kendall didn't know. And I was like, yes, Jacqueline's getting justice for Kendall.
Yeah, I love Jacqueline. She's so great. Because as soon as I got back, my close friends, Jacqueline included, I said everything that happened. And so looking back, of course, when things are airing, that's when you get all of the opinions and because I chose not to watch it, it was something that I was kind of battling with because, you want to watch it and defend yourself. But I got to a point where I felt like it was a waste of time to even try to defend myself. For me, the most important opinions are people that I love, my family, my friends. And so that's kind of what I focused on during that time. And I took a step back and I thought it just wasn't emotionally worth it to put myself through the battle of proving myself because, why? I just don't see a reason why.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you regret going back, or are you just like, it happened, we're all good now, who cares, all's well that ends well?
I didn't, honestly, when I left, I felt good. I felt like it was it was a good way to end something that had been so, not unsure. I guess I left that beach feeling more sure about where our future ended up than anything. I felt really confident, and I think I learned a lot of lessons with it. I had a fun time when I was there with Tia and Becca. I got to date Ivan, who I had curiosity about. And so overall, I felt like it was a positive experience, and I cried for a bit, but who doesn't cry?
We do that.
Yeah. And I felt like it was really positive, and it wasn't until afterwards, after everything aired, that I realized that there was some sort of negative air about it. And and I just chose not to look into that.
Is there any fun unseen moment or memory that you can share either with Ivan or with the girls that you had? Because honestly, all we really did see was the Joe Serena stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, I don't really know exactly what was seen and not seen. So that's, I did watch when I walked down, and I think I watched the first talk that Joe and I had. But from what I gathered, none of Ivan's and my relationship was shown, which is, I thought, really fun. And we connected with a lot. I mean, Ivan's extremely intelligent, and we just had all these random talks about space, and I don't know, it was really stimulating and really fun. And so if anything, I wish that was shown more, because from what I hear, Ivan's they didn't show our relationship at all, and I was like, that's weird. But
yeah,
we didn't end up together or have any serious relationship, just a friendship, so it makes sense to not prioritize that, I guess.
Ivan also kind of had an interesting one just because he was, I feel really loved on Tayshia's season. And then he was really popular on the beach, but then he had that weird thing at the end with the phone and the pretty whatever. So I think it almost, unfortunately for his edit, it made more sense to make him look a little less like he had other love interests too. It would just, you know what I mean? Which isn't really fair to either of you, but he seems like a very nice person, and I've heard very nice things about him from other people, but yeah.
I heard about that drama. He messaged me and he's like, oh my gosh, you won't believe what happened. And
I found a phone.
It's unfortunate because I feel like if you have a good edit on Bachelor or Bachelorette, or maybe even a previous Paradise, there's always a chance of getting a bad light shown on you. And so that's just the risk you take going into it. You sign, And for me, I knew that could have potentially happened, and I think the experience itself was more important than what other people thought about me. And yeah, I came out feeling better. I mean, I think emotionally, it was very taxing for a while after everything aired, but I don't know. I feel fine now.
Yeah, like closure with all of that.
Yeah.
Did you ever talk to Joe or Serena or anything after when it was airing, or were you just like,
no, it's not. I just don't think, I'm just not really interested in being involved in their relationship. And I think they should find comfort in each other. I found comfort in my friends and family. And I think if we're in each other's lives, it'd be inappropriate. So yeah, I think we all have support, and I think we're better off that way.
Yeah, definitely. The show overall, Paradise, I mean, one, you do mention, I was actually talking about this morning on a different show. I was like, the risk of the second or third edit or whatever, it is a risk, because if you get off, I've talked to Blac about this before. It's like everybody loved you on Becca's season, and then if you never went on Paradise, would you ever have gotten, the whatever bad boy look, whatever's true or not? And it's so interesting, but also you get, the following and the potential love interest and the experience, and do the good outweighs the bad? So is that just kind of like what it's like to be in that perspective of, hey, I left the original show in a good spot. Do I want to try to, one, meet someone, two, maybe get a little more exposure, or is it scary to then just hand it over and be like, okay, I don't know what's going to happen now, or all of the above?
I mean, being on any sort of show like that involves love and delicate feelings is a risk, and it is terrifying. But I've always been an experience junkie. Like, I like putting myself in those kinds of positions and testing myself in those ways. And for me, it's more so about, definitely more so about the experience. It doesn't really have anything to do with what's shown or how people view you. But it is unfortunate to see so many people be affected emotionally because of ways that, the show looks or how they look on the show. And there's no way of really knowing how you're going to look until after everything's done. So while you're there, you feel like you did a great job, and you feel like everything you did was aligned with your morals and your standards for yourself. And then looking back, you're like, wow, that's a surprise. That's not how I would have expected me to appear. But, I guess also it's nice to have a sort of reflection and to be able to see yourself in different ways, maybe to learn something from it. So, or just don't watch it. Yeah,
or just don't watch it. What would be the advice you would give to someone who was about to go, film the new season of Paradise specifically? Is there advice or a key thing to try to do, or is it just like, be yourself and good luck?
You have to go in being okay with things going either way, because it's really out of your control. So be a good person as much as you can be. You're putting a lot of trust into that world. And when you put a lot of trust into that world, a lot can happen. So when I first went on Paradise, Nick told me, he's like, just don't break up with somebody. Like, go there, don't break up with somebody. And I did. So, no matter how much advice someone can give you, I feel like you go there and you get so caught up in everything that you do what you feel is right in the moment. And
there's no control. They just announced today, actually, that Jesse Palmer is going to be hosting Paradise. Yeah, which I thought was interesting. I mean, it makes sense, obviously, because he took over the show, but obviously you were on it when Chris Harrison was the host. You were on it when they had these rotating hosts. I don't know who was the celebrity. I can't remember when you were there. Little John. That was probably an exciting and interesting one. But then obviously people were like, Wells, justice for Wells. Should he just be the host? I know he's the bartender. As someone who's been there, does it matter who the host is from a contestant perspective? What are your takes on that?
I feel like Wells was more interactive with all of us than the host was, just because he was there every day at the bar. And so he really kind of had a sort of host role in talking about actual real emotions, giving advice. The hosts themselves, we don't really see that often, and they don't really have, we see them during rose ceremonies and they help guide that. But it's not, I don't know. I like Wells being more, he's been through it, he's experienced it, having that more friend role and being able to have conversations with him, I found to be really helpful. And I'm not sure if he'd be able to fulfill that role, not as the bartender. Maybe it would just kind of rearrange the show a bit.
Yeah, he's going to be back too. They said in the bartender role. It just feels like he could also then just be at the rose ceremony and be like, this is it. Like, And it's just more money for them to have to shell out for Jesse Palmer. But he also is very polished in the kind of Chris Harrison sense. And I assume they'll bring celebrities back as guest hosts for dates, maybe the way that they do on both shows.
Yeah. When I was there the second time, Wells was doing the rose ceremonies. And I thought he did a great job. I think he would, I think he definitely balance host and bartender. I think that would be an awesome job. But I think they're maybe trying to tie Paradise and Bachelor and Bachelorette together more by having one single host. Maybe that's what their goal is. And I haven't seen anything with Jesse Palmer being the host. So I just have kind of not watched things since I was on. PTSD, I guess. So
I hear that sometimes.
Yeah. So, I'm sure he's also really good at what he does, or else he wouldn't be there.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a very polished host and very Chris Harrison like, and he's a very nice guy. And I just love to hear that Wells actually does like give advice and gets invested, because that's what it obviously feels like for the audience, but you never know what you're seeing. But every time I talk to someone, I feel like they're all like, oh yeah, then I had to talk, I told Wells and he gave me that, and he seemed really invested. And it's nice to feel like that part, no matter what, is genuine between you guys and how the show works.
Yeah, because it does feel like, everyone's gone through the same experience. Everyone's a part of the family there, the good and the bad of it. So yeah, it's nice to be able to all connect in that way and to come out of it. Even seeing people now, after filming the shows, you can connect on certain crazy things that happen. It really is a unique experience, and it's something that I don't regret doing, and I've loved being a part of.
And there was a lot of couples that came out of both seasons you were on, but the most recent one, everyone besides Riley and Marissa, as far as I know, is still going strong. Does that surprise you? I know you're only there for 4 days, but you're friends with Becca. Like, you've seen some of these relationships in real life. The real deal, I would assume.
Yeah, it's actually really crazy because you never really know what to expect. When I was on Paradise the first time, there weren't many people that stayed together, but it seems like people are really I don't know, they really have been making it happen, which is amazing. Maybe because there's a lot of emotions that happened, and in that it brings people closer together. There were controversies with people like bad guys. You know what I mean? Right. I think because of that, people really, with a common enemy, you bind together closer and harder. So I almost feel like that maybe I was one of those enemies that bound people closer together. I don't know. But yeah, it really is nice to see, because it's a beautiful way to fall in love. It's a great story. And there are people who genuinely find connections through this show. And as insane as it seems, like, a lot of it is very real. You know, it's not just a show. You're actually trying to find someone you're going to spend the rest of your life with. And I think that shouldn't be taken lightly.
I think Thomas is a perfect example of that. Like, everyone going into Katie season, it was like, beware of Thomas. And then you get Becca down there and they're like super cute and still together. And everyone's like, wait, I thought we weren't supposed to like Thomas. And it's a weird one, Yeah,
it is odd. Thomas is an amazing human, like very intelligent. Becca is an amazing human. So I was actually surprised that they connected. We hadn't seen the Bachelorette before he came on the beach, right. So we didn't really know. We knew he was a bad guy, but we didn't, know his full story. But he surprised a lot of people, I think, with his intelligence and just how kind he was. He's always a gentleman, and Becca deserves it. So I'm glad together.
Totally.
I think they're in it for the long haul.
Oh, that's like really fun also to see as fans, because we watched Becca go through it on the show, then get her happy ending, then it didn't end so well, and then now seeing it with Thomas, it's so interesting to see, because she's been on and off our screens for so long and still involved with the show through the podcast and everything, that it's been an interesting journey to kind of watch. And I know we don't know her, but as fans, you feel like you do.
Oh yeah, no, she's had such an insane experience with everything. And I do remember like the moment that Thomas was interested in Becca and we were in Paradise, I was like leaning on one of the poles in the bar, and he came up to me and he's like, your friend, because Tia and Becca were talking over next to us. He's like, your friend, she's really cool. Oh. And I was like, she is really cool. I was like, I think at the time he was kind of seeing somebody else on the beach, and I was like, you should probably exhaust all your curiosity and don't leave any stones unturned. That's what this place is for. And so now they went for it, and
perfect.
The rest is history.
The perfect advice, and it always comes back to you again with curiosity. That was in the book title, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just curious. Yeah.
Just curious.
So, yeah, curiosity is just a great way to get to know people at a deeper level, the world at a deeper level, and to never be bored, and to know that you're sure of something. I think I like to exhaust all curiosities in my life before making like a choice as huge as like love. You know, you have to exhaust those curiosities. And then you'll find someone that keeps you curious. So
yeah, that's also a beautiful way to look at it and what that show is for, like you said. But then some way, somehow, some people, you know, they're not allowed to date other people because they committed. But then other people, it's like, well, isn't that the point of the show? And it's why the show works for us as viewers, because it's messy like that. And the rules are not created equally, whatever the rules are, because there are no rules. But it's like, how do you navigate that? Because you just said it, like, the point of this experience is to exhaust your options, is to keep them open. But then sometimes it's like, how dare they betray her? Like, it doesn't really make sense.
It's also not like the real world, you know. I found it extremely difficult to come in later the second, and I kind of chose to go last minute, so I didn't really have a choice to go a bit later. So for me, I'm not the kind of person that likes to step on anyone's toes. I don't like to steal anyone from someone. Like, I don't think I have to, I wouldn't want to like fight to prove that I'm better than someone else. Like, that's not my love story.
Yeah.
So, I kind of more so took a back seat a little bit, definitely explored things with Ivan, but when that didn't really work out, I wasn't interested in like being like, I'm going to steal this person and try it out. So it was, for me, it was very awkward to do that.
Yeah.
But you have to in a world like that. You do have to be like, hey, I'm interested. Let's, you know, being forward is something that's rewarded there.
Do those days feel like they're a million hours or something? Because I feel like if you're only there for 4 days and you like did explore a relationship with Ivan, you went through, you filmed all the stuff you had to film with Joe and Serena, you were with your friends, like, did it feel like you were there for a long time? Like, did the emotions run for a while? And the way these relationships, they feel like they accelerate. And is it because there's nothing else to think or do?
I went through, yeah, you definitely go through a lot of emotions, even in one day. You know, I'd have days where I was laughing and having fun and then sobbing, you know.
Yeah.
It's very much an emotional roller coaster, and you have to just trust yourself at a certain point. And yeah, I felt like I went through a lot of experiences in that short amount of time, like enough for me to, you know, leave when I did. And that was only 4 days. So it's crazy to think that you can explore so much and learn so much in such a short period of time.
Relationship boot camp and also just emotion boot camp.
Right.
Well, now you're like you said, you have a boyfriend, things are good. What else are you up to? What's going on? I know we're talking about animal facts on Instagram, which I want to ask you what the most interesting thing you found while researching lately. But what else are you up to, Kendall?
Oh, so much. Just doing all the science things. I've really enjoyed being more of a teacher on TikTok, on Instagram. It started out as just a fun way for me to talk about my hobbies and things that I like researching, because that's like my hobby is like researching weird, obscure facts about animals and science. And so being able to take larger concepts and make them more digestible to people in a fun way has been like a dream for me. Like, that's something that I absolutely love doing. So I'm doing a lot of stuff in the science world right now. I'm working with a company called Colossal that's trying to rebirth the woolly mammoth and like other genetics projects. So that's just mind blowing to me to be a part of something like that with George Church, who's the leading geneticist on that. And, you know, it's just so cool. Wow. And then I'm going to be working on doing other future things with science projects that I'm excited to announce coming up. So it's so crazy how in such a short period of time you can go from being a part of some like romantic world with Bachelor, and then you can just fall into something that truly feels like you and your passion. And I'm really grateful for being able to do what I love every day. And I'm extremely grateful for it. And I've always thanked Bachelor for that, because who knows what could have happened if that wasn't the case. So
have you found people like responding and like engaging with you in a way you wouldn't expect on TikTok or on Instagram when you're posting stuff like this? And maybe like the response is that like surprising to you?
Yeah, I mean, so on TikTok, I have a completely different audience, which I'm loving because it's very different. People don't know me from the show. A lot of people don't even know I was on Bachelor. So a lot of families and with their children will watch my videos and say, "Oh, I play your videos for my kids."
Aww.
And there's like a homeschooling where the group of kids will like watch my videos every day. And
oh my God, that's so cool. You're literally a teacher.
I love it. And I love teaching, and learning myself as I teach is the best way to go about it. Because as soon as I hear something interesting, I'm like, did you know that this happened? And this is so cool. And So yeah, I'm really enjoying that. And I feel like it's just a profession that has been growing and continuing to be more fulfilling the more that I get feedback, from what I do. And so, yeah, I love it. It's making me happy. So.
Okay, so what's like an interesting fact about an animal that you can share with me before we go that I can now think about for the rest of the day? What's something interesting that we've learned recently or that you've shared?
Ooh, okay, so recently I shared a video about goldfish and how everyone thinks they have 3-second memories, where in fact they have like month-long memories, and they can do tricks like play basketball and soccer. And
Goldfish?
Yeah, goldfish are really remarkable. They're actually one of the smartest fish out there.
So why do we think that? They're not.
Well, I think it's maybe convenient to think that a fish that we keep in a tiny little bowl by itself can't remember being lonely. It sounds like a dark turn for it, but I think we do that with a lot of pets. We're like, oh, they don't understand anyway. This is as happy as they can be. They're being fed. That's all they need. Same thing with what's it called? Guinea pigs. They in Switzerland, it's illegal to only own one guinea pig now, because they are herd animals, they're social animals. So it's seen as animal cruelty to not have them, be in pairs or with a couple. So yeah, it's been a really fascinating avenue I've been going down recently. Animals that I had as a kid, like I had a goldfish as a kid, and you don't really think about that. So I think that's fun for children to know that these are animals you can interact with and you can learn about them, and they're so much more intelligent than you can even imagine. And so
yeah. That is interesting. I had no idea that goldfish had I thought the 3-second, I don't know why I believed the 3-second memory thing, but I guess we all just believe random stuff we hear or read Snapple facts, but that's an interesting one. I didn't know that about goldfish.
Actually, it's a universal thing too. Like everyone around the world has that view of goldfish, but it's not true.
Justice for goldfish.
Justice for goldfish, like really.
Well, Kendall, thank you so much for taking time. I love talking to you, and I appreciate, you letting me go down memory lane with you a little bit. And I'm really happy for you and your new relationship. And I can't wait to watch and learn more, because following you on Instagram really is fun for anyone who's looking for like a little escape during the day to find out something interesting or new about an animal and all that fun stuff.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Hey everyone, I'm Christina Garibaldi, the host of Us Weekly Celebrity Coverage. Don't forget to hit subscribe for the latest celebrity news, tips, and video. And for much more content, make sure you head on over to usmagazine.com, the official home of Us Weekly Magazine.